In a sun-scorched land half a world away from Jerusalem, an extraordinary secret may lie buried beneath the snow-tipped peaks of Kashmir. A secret that, if true, would rewrite everything we think we know about Jesus' life. Imagine a teenage carpenter, restless and inquisitive, slipping away from his hometown in Nazareth, not to wander the dusty roads of Judea, but to board a caravan bound for distant India, traversing perilous mountain passes, lush valleys, and winding Silk Road oases, drawn by whispers of ancient teachings and a longing that could not be quelled by broken wood or simple faith. This is not a tale of myth, but a controversial but compelling account rooted in tradition, local lore, and claimed historical testimonies. The so-called lost years of Jesus Christ, often neglected by conventional biographers, may have unfolded in the Indian subcontinent, where he studied, learned, and transformed, far from the familiar gospel stories. As the caravan winds through the harsh beauty of the Hindu Kush, we hear the voice of a young Jesus, his thoughts echoing questions about suffering, divinity, and the human heart, questions that resonate with the rich spiritual traditions he would later encounter in India. In dusty bazaars, he trades with scholars in Buddhist monasteries perched on hilltops, absorbing the wisdom of meditation and the concept of renunciation. In remote Himalayan caves, he encounters holy men who speak of enlightenment, compassion, and cosmic cycles. In grand temples, he listens to chants that vibrate in his soul, the rhythmic dance of ancient mantras stirring something deep within him. He learns from Hindu rishis who trace their lineage to Vedic times, absorbing the belief in karma, dharma, and cycles of rebirth, struggling to reconcile these ideas with his own monotheistic convictions. Along the way, he comes into contact with merchants from distant lands, Jewish traders from the Middle East, and itinerant missionaries, each adding a thread to the tapestry of his experience, shaping a worldview that bears traces of East and West. There are local Kashmiri legends, preserved in Sufi poetry and the region's oral traditions, that speak of a rishi of the Roza Bal, a man of deep spirituality who performed miracles, healed the sick, and preached love and peace, only to be laid to rest in a tomb that today lies in Srinagar, shrouded in mystery and pilgrimage. For centuries, some believe, this tomb has been revered by locals, not as a Sunni or Shia saint, but as the final resting place of the man Christians call the Messiah, a claim that deeply divides scholars, believers, and skeptics. Proponents of this theory point to architectural oddities at the Roza Bal Shrine, inscriptions, and local folklore, arguing that they offer extraordinary, though not universally accepted, evidence that Jesus traveled to Kashmir in his youth and ultimately died there, his body preserved and honored by the locals. Critics, of course, dismiss these claims as myth-making or conflation, arguing there is no credible historical documentation in canonical Christian texts to support such a journey, and little to no archaeological proof to firmly anchor Jesus in the Indian subcontinent. Yet, for many seekers, the resonance of this story is too powerful to ignore. The idea of a Jesus shaped by Eastern wisdom, one who understood suffering by traveling across deserts and mountains, who learned compassion not just in Judean synagogues but in Himalayan monasteries, invites us to imagine his message in a radically new light. We follow this thread back more than 2 millennia to the 1st century CE, when trade between the Roman Empire, Persia, Central Asia, and India flourished along the Silk Road, enabling not just the exchange of silk, spices, and precious stones, but of ideas, philosophies, and religious traditions. We explore records of Jewish communities established in India, in places like Kerala, Gujarat, and the Kashmir Valley, suggesting a diaspora strong enough to maintain contact with Jerusalem and possibly open to the arrival of itinerant preachers. As the story unfolds, we interweave testimonies from early travelers, Persian merchants, Chinese pilgrims, and Arab geographers, some of whom noted the presence of strange, pious men in the Kashmiri hills, men whose teachings seemed at once familiar and wholly alien. We hear from scholars in contemporary Kashmir and in theological centers around the world, who weigh the evidence, parse legends, and debate the plausibility of a Jesus in India hypothesis, some dismissing it as romantic fantasy or political appropriation, others calling it one of the most fascinating untold chapters of Christian history. We dramatize key moments: a young Jesus sitting beside a meditating monk beneath a starlit sky, the air thick with incense and low chanting, his quiet conversations with teachers who speak not of scapegoat sacrifice, but of rebirth, not of sin and atonement, but of balance, stillness, and duty. We visualize caravans crossing deserts, camel shadows stretching across dunes, caravansaries echoing with whispered prayers in Persian and Aramaic. We feel his longing, a longing for purpose, for understanding, for a spiritual home that lies beyond any one faith tradition. We contrast this with Jesus' later life, as depicted in the Gospels: his return to Judea, his ministry among the poor, his challenge to the religious establishment, his radical teaching of love, forgiveness, and self-sacrifice. What if the radical compassion in his parables, the Good Samaritan, the prodigal son, the Beatitudes, drew on insights he gleaned from Eastern traditions? We explore the possibility that his journeys transformed him, giving him a perspective rarely acknowledged, not just as a Jewish prophet, but as a seeker, a traveler, a bridge between worlds. We also follow the darker side of the controversy, the political and religious tensions that swirl around the Roza Bal Shrine today. Local custodians, Muslim caretakers, Sufi pilgrims, and Christian visitors each claim a piece of its story, while governments and religious authorities weigh in cautiously. Tourists come seeking miracles, historians come seeking proof, and believers come seeking faith. Some convert, others pray in silence, and many leave with more questions than answers. Our narrative crescendos as we examine modern research, DNA tests, geological datings, linguistic analyses, and even forensic studies of the tomb itself. While some studies remain inconclusive or contested, others fuel the imagination. Could this humble structure in Kashmir really hold the remains of a man who changed the world? We meet local Kashmiri elders who pass down stories orally, imams who guard the shrine, Christian pilgrims who weep when they stand before the tomb, and skeptics who challenge them, demanding scholarly rigor and peer-reviewed proof. Throughout, the tone remains cinematic, sweeping visuals of the Himalayas, slow-motion shots of pilgrims walking barefoot on stone paths, close-ups of ancient manuscripts and weathered tombstones, backed by a dramatic score that swells with tension, wonder, and solemnity. We weave in single, intimate moments: a mother in Srinagar, holding her child, whispering prayers at dusk; a scholar in Cambridge poring over dusty Persian travelogues; a monk in a cave, lighting a candle in memory of a man he may never have known. We pose profound questions to the audience. What happens when faith meets history? When legend meets evidence? When the boundaries of traditional belief stretch to embrace far-flung corners of the world? And perhaps most dramatically, if Jesus really walked among yogis in the Himalayas, what does that mean for our understanding of his mission, his message, and his legacy? Finally, as the caravan reaches its highest pass, as the sun dips behind the mountains and shadows lengthen over the valley, we imagine Jesus standing on a crag, wind in his hair, looking out over a land that is both foreign and home, his heart full of longing and hope. A man caught between worlds, destined to inspire billions, and yet in his very silence hiding a journey that few will ever understand. And as the winds of time bury truth beneath layers of legend, one question still echoes through the mountains of Kashmir and the hearts of all who seek the untold. Did Jesus truly walk this distant land, learning the wisdom of the East before returning to change the West forever? Whatever the answer may be, history remains a shadowed maze of faith and mystery, where light and darkness intertwine. You've been watching Dark History Files, where every story hides a secret, and every secret has a past.